Yeah. Luckily, these fast dialogue affects the fire pellet trigger time.
Hey folks, getting word that I'm live for you here on US Mother's Day for Anime Speedruns Festival with G-Saviour. G-Saviour is a real video game. If you're not familiar with it, I'll talk a little bit as we go through, but plenty of time to talk in the early levels of this game. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it started. Time will start when I select this new game. I'm gonna count down from 3, 2, 1. Go. All right, so this is G-Saviour. G-Saviour is a early PS2 game, so early in fact that it came out before the PS2 launched in North America. This is a JP exclusive. It is a tie-in for the G-Saviour movie, the G-Saviour TV movie that was Canadian produced, but this game is Japanese developed. This game was made by Atelier Sai, who had some other games of the era, like the G-Breaker games, which are not Gundam games, but G-Saviour is a Gundam game. This game is actually one of the things that is the furthest set in the Universal Century timeline. So let's talk about the gameplay a little bit here. So this is the G-Saviour. This is in fact the real G-Saviour from the movie, the original G-Saviour, the OG Saviour. We have a few bars to work with here. For these early levels, our most important bar is going to be this hover meter. That's that teal meter in the top right that's slowly draining right now. That gives me the ability to do this floating thing. This is going to be important mostly for the first 4 levels, the first half of the game, and then as we get further into it, we're going to we don't have to deal with it for reasons that have to do with the suit that we'll get later. But while we have it, while we have the OG Saviour, I'm going to be draining it and then jumping out of it when I get real towards the end, and then doing 2 hops to let it refill. If I let it drain all the way, it would stay empty longer, and that would be kind of a bigger problem. This is just a much easier way to do it. The enemies at this point aren't too much of a threat to me, so I'm not too worried about what's going on with, you know, do I have to worry about taking damage? Like, I do have a health bar, but all these enemies are just tiny little babies. They're not really going to do much damage. It's not something I have to worry about. The other important meter, which is going to be, yeah, you can see there, I took so little damage. The other important meter there is the yellow meter. That is the shield meter. The shield meter, so that's something, it's like, if you've seen F91 or Victory Gundam, you may remember the energy shields they use. And of course, G-Saviour being set in the far future of the Universal Century timeline also has those energy shields. The energy shields, in this case, the way they work in the game is that they block things that are in the direction I'm facing. So, and occasionally I take shots, and then whenever I take shots, I can release it and it'll immediately regen. Oh, there we go. I was doing too much commentary. You can see how long it takes now for the, I can do like 5 hops instead of 2 hops. So that's just a good example there of what you don't want to be doing. We do get faster suits though, I should mention. This is, the OG Saviour is very, very slow. And we will go faster than this. So rest assured, things will improve. A little bit more about the lore. I mentioned this is set in the far UC. This is specifically UC 224. It is set after the G-Saviour movie, which is UC 223. There isn't really too much of a connection though. In like the opening text crawl of the game, they mentioned that the bad guy of this game, Colonel Bias, was a friend of General Garneau, who's the kind of one of the primary villains of the movie. That's about as far as the ties go. I mean, there's also our player character is a member of the Illuminati Squad, or the player character is a member of the Lightning Squad, which is a sort of paramilitary force of the Illuminati, which is the good guy faction. Bosses in this game tend to be kind of trivial. This first boss we can just stun lock with our normal projectile, so we're just gonna walk him back. You might wonder why not get closer. The thing about getting closer is that this game will switch you to Beam Saber based on the context of distance. And so if I were to get close, I pull my Beam Saber. Beam Saber combat in this game is extremely dangerous and not that high DPS. There's only one situation in which you would use Beam Saber, and that's if you were doing an original G-Saviour hard mode run where you complete every level with original mode G-Saviour. You do that to unlock the G-Saviour terrain mode. for use in the game, but we're just playing any percent, so we're not worried about that. That is an exercise to be done later. That is definitely the hardest thing to do in the game, but fun if you do like this game. All right, so we're on to the second level. That was the first boss, first level. Second level is going to be actually kind of an interesting visit for UC fans because it's going to take place inside the ruins of the colony that struck Sydney. So this is like 150 years after, roughly, like 145, after the colony destroyed Sydney in Operation British in the original Gundam. And this is kind of just what's left sitting around. There's a bunch of locations like this in this game. We're also going to go to Kilimanjaro, stuff like that. It'll be a lot of fun too. Oh, did I actually kill that guy? I did. There you go. There's an example again of me doing too much commentary. But anyway, so we'll go to lots of interesting locations throughout the run. That'll be, compared to the movie, there's a lot to enjoy here in terms of references to other Gundam things. Actually, I think in this area, you are able to see a down, right over there on the left was a Zagok. So shout outs to the Zagok. We all love the Zagok. Again, our general idea here is we want to be, avoiding losing hover like I've done twice this level. And then there's no penalty really for firing our weapon, so it is pretty much safe. The biggest risk is being shot in the back by these Bugus that we're passing. I think these are Bugus. I always forget which ones are. I think these ones are Bugus, and then the other ones are Rice. We'll fight like stuff later on. There isn't too much more to the movement in this game besides the hover modes and those quick steps. Those are kind of the major ones. You can control the camera with the right stick, but it's like very early PS2, so it's not the like smooth 3D animation or 3D controlling that we're used to today. They hadn't quite figured it out then, Oh, here we go. I think that's a Renz. Love to see it. Unfortunately, there isn't much in the way of Gunpla of these suits. I think the only Gunpla that was made of any G-Saviour suits were the original G-Saviour, which is a fine suit and all, but like let's be honest here, when you see the G-3rd Saviour, you're gonna be like, damn, why don't we have a G-3rd Saviour Gunpla? And you're gonna be right about that. This boss is a scripted loss, so we just want to die as quickly as possible. Thank you. And now, finally, with the original G-Saviour trashed, it is time for us to get a sick upgrade. And that's going to be the G-3rd Saviour. G-3rd Saviour is going to be way faster. All right, get ready for this. Get ready for this. Oh yeah, and we got so much more hover, so much more health, so much more shield. Just a huge upgrade in every way imaginable. Also, another jamming tune. I should talk about the soundtrack of this game. The soundtrack of this game rocks. Like, the soundtrack of this game rocks so hard that if you search a G-Saviour original soundtrack, you'll get results for this soundtrack before you get results for the movie soundtrack. That's how hard the track of this game rips. It's extremely good. Like, even if you never want to play this game, go listen to the G-Saviour soundtrack. You'll be happy that you did. These purple guys are bombs. They're just proximity bombs. So if I get too close to them, they blow up. And explosions in this game are pretty hazardous. They have a very large hitbox that persists, so you can take multiple frames of explosion damage. You don't want to do that. No one wants to take multiple frames of explosion damage. I really needed that guy to go before the bomb to go away before I fell down there. All right, cool. A lot of these, so when I'm fighting with the G-3rd Saviour, finding good times to be on the ground is going to be important. Obviously, if I'm hopping, I'm not going to be shooting, and I don't want to hop forward into things like proximity mines or rocket turrets or things like that. Most of the turrets are pretty unimportant. Like, they're not really a threat in any way. But there is one particular kind of turret that shoots rockets, and we want to be careful of that guy. There you go. That is the end of level 3. Going into the boss of level 3. This is going to be pretty much a redux of 1. This is going to be very, very simple. This guy also does not... The spearheads never block, so they are pretty much free to being stun locked because they're always going to run forward. Same thing, too, with our distance. We want to keep an appropriate amount of distance so that we are not activating our beam saber. Don't worry, the boss fights will get more complex. I promise. There you go. Easy peasy. Oh, what? Oh, wait, what? Sorry, wow. Folks, I just woke up. All right, everyone join me, please, in taking a bit of coffee. Holy crap. All right, I really thought he was dead. I didn't notice the pixel at the end. You operated. All right, I'm awake now. Okay. All right. So good news, bad news. They're gonna give us a new mode of G-Saviour called the G-Third Savior Intensive Attack Mode. Unfortunately, G-Third Savior Intensive Attack Mode is kind of slow. So we want to use the regular G-Third Savior still because that is faster. So as you can see here, G-Third Savior Intensive Attack has some cool explosive cannons, but is much slower than the base model. But don't worry, we will use the next upgrade. That will still happen. Well, pretty much same rules apply. We're gonna be up here. I'm gonna fall out of this a little early just so I can avoid dealing with this guy. So there's that turret right there that was shooting rockets. Those rockets do generate huge explosions, and so they're a problem. They will knock us out of hover. That's the one thing I should mention about certain types of damage is they will knock you out of the hover state, and of course that will leave you even more vulnerable. So you definitely want to avoid that. We're getting to the point of the game where things are going to become a lot more lethal, and starting pretty much with the next level, and especially levels 6 through 8 on the back half of the game, a few hits could really just take us out altogether. And there's no checkpoints or anything in this game, so we have to pretty much just survive or do the whole level at once. And the levels aren't too long, but you know, you don't want to play around with that. Speaking of playing around, this could be us, but you forgot to unhover. We're almost to the end of this. Some of these levels will get reused, so we'll actually be back in this level again for level 7, except there'll be more debris and more things will have decayed. All right, so finally, bosses are gonna get just a hair more complex. This guy he's gonna actually start shielding, which is, you know, probably should have done that sooner. The bosses. So when he comes towards us, like with his shield, he's gonna be able to block that, but he will try to hover. The G-Third Savior has a special attack, which is a rapid fire, where I just fire all just shots without me having to mash them. This is a slightly faster rate of fire. So this can be kind of useful for locking him down. He's coming towards me now, so I'm going to re-hover again, so that way he is not able to put me into Beam Saber. Because I mean, I probably would win a Beam Saber fight against this guy, but it is extremely risky. You do not want to do it. For whatever reason, Gundam games, at least the ones that I play, have a very checkered history with being able to make Beam Saber combat fun, which is sad because I like Beam Sabers. I think they're neat. All right, there we go. Another boss down. All right, good news. Our days of managing the hover meter are over. That's because we now have access to the G-Third ground attack mode. G-Third ground attack mode has, you guessed it, roller skates. Roller skates are pretty cool. Also, they are effectively infinite hover. But that's not all. Besides the infinite hover, he also has a much stronger projectile when in hover mode, and he also has homing rockets. So, like, look at that, bam. That huge projectile can kill multiple enemies, goes through shields, will make much of the rest of the game trivial. So pretty cool. The G-Third ground attack. Hey Bondi, are you listening? If you want me to make, I'm not really a model kit guy, but if you released a G-Third ground attack mode kit, I would consider it. That's all I'm saying. All right, so yeah, I mean, I am excited for Armored Core, but also you have G-Saviour, which actually G-Saviour, I've done a bunch of Gundam speedruns. I think with the possible exception of Journey to Jaburo, I think G-Saviour is probably the most fun I've had doing a Gundam speedrun. So this game is actually very legit, I think. So you might wonder, why not shoot more of the enemies? When I shoot with this gun, it does knock me back a little bit, so I'm losing a little bit of time. I will be shooting more enemies later on, but while it's safe to do so, I will be just flying past enemies because I don't want to. I only want to travel forwards. I don't want to travel backwards. This game looks like it's on rails. It's not actually on rails. I can turn around. The way the game works in terms of movement is that when I'm in a hover mode, left and right on the left analog stick will make me sort of strafe, whereas if I'm not in hover mode, left and right will have me turn left and right like it would like in an old-fashioned game. Where's the skateboarding? I agree, there should be a skateboarding robot. Yeah, easy peasy. This is supposed to be Mount Kilimanjaro for the Zeta Gundam fans. All right, finally, boss fights will be a little more complex. So what I'm going to do here is go forward, and I'm going to turn around, and we're going to go to 3 FPS gameplay. So this guy, he needs to turn away from me or shoot, and I can punish either of those. But if he turns towards me, he'll have a dodge that will pretty much always work. So now he's gonna, oh, yeah, oh, see, all right, so now I wait for him to turn away. It's actually a pretty good fight. All right, yeah, you can see there, dodge, but then he turns away, and that was outstanding. He only turned towards me a few times. You love to see it.
You have Mike.
Okay, so now we're going on to the real challenging. The last 3 levels I think are definitely way more intense. In terms of the regular levels, the bosses are still somewhat consistent, but the things are going to get more intense in terms of what we have to deal with on the ground. Whole bunch of the series combined as one. You might be thinking of Encounters in Space, which adapted the original TV show as like a bunch of other side content. And that was like pretty much all in space. There's a lot of Gundam stuff. That was probably the way you're describing it that makes it sound like Encounters in Space, because you can play from the perspective of a lot of different characters. Fine. I'm gonna get rid of this guy. I need to, all right, sir. All right, thank you. I need to turn here. So there's a weird angle here where I have to shoot this proximity mine in order to be able to continue. Encounters in Space is a really neat game for lore. I'm not playing it that much. Encounters in Space is the movie. That's fantastic. Of course, that's the 3rd of the original trilogy of Gundam films. Outstanding film. So I'm killing some of these golden guys for safety, just because they can shoot me in the back, and I don't want that to happen. Oh, ugh, see, that's what happens. I get knocked out of hover. I think this place is supposed to be the ruins of Angel Halo. I've started a watch of Victory Gundam recently, but I'm only a few episodes in. I've never seen Victory before, but I believe this is supposed to be the ruins of Angel Halo, which is a Victory Gundam thing, I'm told. All right, so we got probably the most interesting boss fight in the game. There's going to be 2 Reed drones, and we have to take care of them. There's also going to be a giant spinning laser. They're also going to shoot rockets at it. If you look at the mini-map, you'll notice that there are orange things that move towards me, and you're like, what are those? Those are those rockets that the other guy's shooting at me, and I need to make sure I'm far enough to the left that they don't hit me out of hover, because that would be bad. All right, so you might wonder, can I shield the giant laser beam? The answer is absolutely. Kidding me? Whoa, okay. All right, there we go. See, there's an example of why I don't want to deal with that. Of course, I also need to give my laser time to recharge. But with the laser gone and this guy running away from me, I'm able to keep him in stun lock with the weapon, and that'll pretty much be the end of that fight. This game also has the plot of this has like a sort of mobile dolls thing. Shout out to Gundam Wing. Whereas some of these suits are AI controlled, and so of course a part of the plot is that AI controlled mobile suits are bad because you want humans in your mobile suits.
Chapter 7.
All right, so level 7 takes us back to that highway. Remember that highway from level 4. Not gonna be doing that again, except there's gonna be much tougher enemies. There's gonna be a lot more, many more obstructions on the road. But same rules apply pretty much. I'm going to be killing way more dudes here because there are a ton of guys, and it is very trivial for them to shoot me in the back. Mostly, again, it's the mobile suits are the ones I got to worry about. There I got 2 for 1 with that. That was very nice. You love to see that. That's just value. That's economics. These gold guys will move and then stop in place. There we go. I got a guy and one of the proxy mines with 1 shot. That's usually one that I can line up pretty safely. There's a few shots there I can try to get multiple for 1 that I'll try to line up. That's a good example of one of them. These 2 up here, one guy's going to cross in front of the other, and then I'm going to kill both of them. I'm going to use some rockets to take care of this wave of enemies. Man, I love the Virgo too. That yellow and green color scheme, that thing rules. Mostly I'm just trying to clear out a way. The other thing I'm doing too is I'm very intentionally going back and forth because this will help me not get shot in the back. Because you'll notice occasionally projectiles coming from behind me. And you know, I don't want to get hit. Yep, there's one right there. Just trying to avoid those because the shield only works in the forward direction. The shield does not save me from what's behind me, so it's very important for me to actually dodge those. All right, cool. There we go. This next one is going to be pretty straightforward. This guy. The stage is sort of interesting, this boss arena, because it'll like move and rotate and stuff, but he can't break out of the loop, so this projectile is just too powerful. There you go. That's the Bugu too. Did you know that there are mobile suits named Bugu in both G-Saviour as well as the Origin? I don't think there's ever been anyone said that out loud. Well, I mean, there's fans have said that out loud, but like no one official. no one's ever been like, yeah, we named that. All right, we're on to the final level. I will mention that the final boss is 3 phases, so don't panic if I'm not calling time because we got plenty of time. We'll have three phases of the boss fight to deal with, so. I can't skip out of this cutscene until this pan ends, and now I can skip out of it. But yeah, we're once again back where we are in level 2. That's the level where we had the boss fight, where we had to just die. But this time, we have the G-3rd Savior. So now it's time to do some damage. Same rules apply though. Don't want to get shot in the back. Want to keep moving forward. Gonna take care of some of these guys. That rocket wants me. It's a shame there's no way to get through walls in this game because the end of the level is so close. It's like right there. But we have to go all the way around. Big part of this is finding times to let my shield regenerate. So, you know, also enemies in this game don't tend to shoot up or down slopes, so you can often rely on in a section where you're going up or down a slope to be able to get by everything. You might notice sometimes when I pass enemies, you hear like a sharp beam noise. That's the enemy being baited into pulling out their saber as I go past them. Also enjoy the 3 FPS gameplay. Here we go, here we go. We're out. Awesome. Hell yeah. All right, so now we have 3 phases. First phase is going to be a redux of the thing that happened before. But good news, now he's just going to get stun locked by our beam weapon. So easy phase 1. But that's not it. That's not all. We're going to go to phase 2. Phase 2 is going to be in the top of an airship. And we're pretty much going to do the same fight again. I'm not being close enough. This is the problem here. I'm letting him get out. Okay, so here's the deal with phase 3. Don't worry, time will be after the boss dies. Time is not on boss death. I'm gonna walk forward. The boss is now an airplane, which is like upsetting. Boss is gonna come up behind me. I'm gonna use my special attack, which causes explosions to just appear around me. And the boss is gonna be stuck in this, kind of. Oh, come on, buddy. Come back. And I think that is it. Yeah, I think I got it. All right, here we go. Easy peasy first try. Time will be when this screen goes away. And time. All right, folks, that was G-Saviour for the PS2. That was the any % category. So I chose suits that you can only choose in a first playthrough. At this point, I am no longer able to skip cutscenes. So it is going to take us into the credits in a hot second, where you will hear the song Dear Mother. On this Mother's Day. I'm completely serious. The ending credits song is a ballad called Dear Mother. But yeah, this is G-Saviour. This is a really fun game. It emulates well. It is cheap to pick up if you want to pick up a hard copy. It's a really just fun, straightforward action game. There are other suits that you can play as. There's gallery unlockables. You can play the G-3rd Savior in every stage. It's just a really fun game. It's a really straightforward, fun PS2 game. If you want to get like a little just tiny Gundam game as a fun time, I would recommend this game. But yeah, I think that's about all of it from me. Otherwise, I'll just let you enjoy, Dear Mother.
Finally come to the end of this.
Dear Mother couldn't have worked out more perfectly.
Hello, troops.
Well, thank you.
Jettison
PMC,
whatever
for
goods you can
performing for us today at
and
ASF
vacate the
2023.
area
That was a great
immediately.
run. I'd actually never seen
Attention all
this
units
game
and spaceships.
before. The soundtrack
The
was
mission
amazing.
is
You
over.
weren't kidding about that. That was
J-Saviors and
full
spaceships
jams.
must jettison
So,
all release
yeah,
goods
that was awesome,
and
man.
return
Thank you
at
so
once.
much. We'll let the credits play for just a little
By
bit.
the way,
If you do have
where is Reed?
anyone you want to shout out or any communities or anything
We've
you want to
lost
shout
contact.
out, you can do that as well. But
What?
in a moment here, I'll be back
Didn't
to transition us into
He
Sailor
promised me
Moon.
that he would return.
Awesome. Yeah, so, obviously thank you to Anime Speedruns Festival and for the Anime Speedruns folks for for not only having me for this event, but also just for like taking care of, you know, anime games. It's, you know, really very helpful as someone who's involved with some Gundam speedrunning to, you know, have a community to work with, to meet with sort of like-minded folks focusing on these games, which sometimes I think can be overlooked unfairly. I want to give shout outs to Steven Hero, my partner in crime for Giant Robot FM. I wouldn't have ended up playing G-Saviour without his work. Shout outs to Zappaslave, who I saw in chat. He was the person who specifically asked us to cover G-Saviour, which led to me playing this game, having a ton of fun with it. So he deserves a ton of credit as well. And also thanks to anyone else who's run G. There's a few other runners out there, Andy Speedwagon, Omax. Thank you for running the game. Omax in particular for doing the leaderboard moderation. And I think that'll be about it for me.
Lightning, can you hear me? This
There's
is
some
Reed.
coffee. There's if we got all the way into this, there's a bit where the main character Reed talks to Asuka about coffee, so it's kind of thematically appropriate.
This is the finale of our successful operation. I want to thank you all for your commitment during our struggle. Now, let's welcome Reed.
You have that thing that you promised me?
You bet! Commander?
The best you've ever had. But better hurry. All the rest of the crew have already left for the bar.
That doesn't sound too good.
Don't worry. I'll make fresh coffee just for you.
Great.
This is a song for
Now
all
I
the
can
mothers.
make myself at home.
Welcome back, Reed.
Glad to see you again, Asaka.
Thank you once again, PMC. We are ready to get started for Sailor Moon. Thanks for letting the credits play for us. It's a very nice song. Couldn't have worked out better. But yeah, once again, thank you so much to PMC, the Gundam community, everyone involved in the Sailor game as well. I appreciate you for being on, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
See you next time. Go ahead and get ready for Sailor Moon. Thanks, guys.
So I lost the power here, but I can still use her built-in mechanic to